I've always known the importance of setting boundaries and, just drawing a line in several areas of your life, but I don't think I actively practiced it until recently. I don't think I actually felt the need to actively practice it until recently. And it was when I decided to start over, right? When I decided to do a life reset and reinvent myself and go on this journey of just becoming a greater version of myself. That was when I realized that I needed to put boundaries in place in certain areas, and I did not feel bad for it. Or even if I felt bad for it, I did not dwell on it too much, because in that moment, my eyes, and now, even now, still, I know what my goal is, I know what my focus is, and I know that I need to have boundaries in place in order for me to be able to move forward, with clear understanding. I've learned that the boundaries is something people struggle with, either in relationships, either in your emotional or, dating life, emotional relationships, either with those. Sorry, it's getting cold. I'm going to cover my feet. Either with those, or either with your own self as well. So how do you set boundaries without feeling guilty? And, how do you protect your peace? Naturally, when you set boundaries, if you're a good person, you're going to feel guilty and you will feel sad, and you might be tempted not to set those boundaries because you don't want to be misunderstood. You don't want the situation to blow out of proportion. Maybe you become concerned about pleasing people more than you are about pleasing yourself. But in that moment, it is even more crucial for you to put boundaries in place. So even if there is a part of you that starts to feel guilty about, you having to put boundaries in place with certain people, don't give into it. Put those boundaries in place. I always say to people that boundaries exist for a reason, right? It's not called boundaries without reason. No matter how close you are to someone, there are certain things you will not do with that person. There are certain things you will not do to that person. There are certain things you will not say to that person. That is what boundaries are. Do you get? I remember a while ago, I think this was years ago now, I remember seeing a video online of some content creators in one of, I think two content creators, but one of them was married, and they were in the married one's bedroom and her husband was in the room as well. And the other content creator was dancing quite seductively and all of that. And they were just trying to create content around it and everything. They were laughing and all of that. I remember seeing that video and saying to myself, there has to be a line. There has to be a line. And you cannot say, it's all fun and games, until it isn't. There are some things that are just not okay. Let's not even get into the spirituality of, marriage and the sanctity of marriage and all these things. Let's not even get into that. You're using your hands to look for your trouble by yourself. That's what you're doing. Why don't you have strict boundaries that protect the things that are important to you? You need to, even in how people treat you, you need to set boundaries. And how people relate with you, you need to set boundaries. If you notice people walking all over you and taking you for granted, you have to be able to say, it's not cool. You cannot treat me like this and think it is okay. And you have to find a way to put boundaries in place to ensure that they do not continue to treat you that way. Because the more you take it, the more they will continue to treat you like that. And in fact, the worse it's going to get, right? It's just like the saying, you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to ask for a glass of milk. That's just basically what it is. So don't let the guilt of, you don't want to offend people. I don't want to offend this person. I don't want them to think I'm rude. I don't want them to, no, don't be a people pleaser. The only person you should live your life to please is God. And if you're married, after God is your spouse. I always say it all the time. The most important relationship is your life. It's not the relationship you have with your best friend. It's not the relationship you have with your mom. It's the relationship you have with God. It's not the relationship you have with your spouse. It's the relationship you have with God. I always say it. Our relationship as a couple, it is a triangle. God is at the hem of the triangle, and then there's him, and then there's me. Do you understand? God is at the center of it. It is God. It is the Spirit that will teach you how to relate with that person, how to show love to that person, how to manage the offenses of that person in that marriage. Do you get what I'm saying? So let's take it a step back again. Don't let guilt of you don't want to offend people. Okay? You don't want them to get mad at you. Don't let that hold you back from being able to set boundaries in those areas that you know you need boundaries. And some people might try to make you feel selfish, and they'll call you selfish, and they'll say to you, oh, you're just being selfish. Why are you only thinking of yourself? Think of yourself. Think of yourself and think of that thing that you're working towards. Think of that thing, those goals that require those boundaries. Think of why those boundaries are necessary, because you know if those boundaries need to be in place, because you know that for certain things to happen, those boundaries need to be in place. They would not be called boundaries if they weren't important. It is a firm line. If there is the boundary between Canada, there's a part in America, there's like when you go to the New York side, there's a part where Canada and America share a boundary. Once you take a step, and I think it's even in North Korea and South Korea as well. There's that film, that K-drama. Once you take a step like this, you've entered the other country. You're in that country. It doesn't matter that it's just a step. Once you take that step and you've crossed the boundary. And you are going to experience the consequences of crossing that boundary. That boundary exists for a reason. So, don't let people make you feel selfish that, you're just being self-centered. You're just thinking of yourself. Think of yourself. Yeah, I'm thinking of myself. So, like I said, if you are trying to set boundaries for people and they don't understand it, it's okay. The only person that you owe an explanation to is God. Other people either understand it or they don't, but those boundaries exist. How do you set these boundaries? Number one, move with your values, not your emotions, okay? Let your values lead. Let your purpose for those boundaries lead. Don't lead with your emotions. Don't say, because you've been treated a certain way by this person, then you're going to tell the person, never, ever, ever in their entire existence must they talk to you like that again. You don't say, no. That is you moving with your emotion, and it is only going to aggravate the situation. Instead, you lead with your values. You lead with your goals. What are those? This is not how I want to be treated. I don't want people to treat me like this. This is not how the person I'm dating is supposed to be treating me. This is not how the person I'm dating is supposed to speak to me. I need to set boundaries. This is a conversation you're having with yourself, so that when you eventually address that point and address that person, you're not leading with, you did this to me. And because of that, you can never in your life do that to me. I'm not going to stand with it. Instead, you're saying, I'm more deserving. I am more deserving. Or you're saying, you know what, this is what I'm working towards right now, and I'm really just going to need you to give me some space. Or I'm not going to have the time to do A, B, C, and D. Do you get? Or, me going towards this path right now requires me to do a few shedding or whatever, and I just cannot do this at this time. So you're leading with your purpose. You're leading with the goal, the aim, the values. You're not leading with your emotions. That's the first step. That's, one of the ways to set boundaries without feeling guilty and without turning the situation into something that will just blow up unnecessarily. Number two, you set the boundaries clearly and kindly as well. Again, I feel like aggressiveness begets aggressiveness. If someone comes to you and the person comes to you and they do like this, it's either you duck, right? And you're like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or you also get ready to throw a punch back, right? That's just the way it is. That is the way it is. You see a punch coming towards you, you're going to either want to defend yourself or you're going to also get ready to retaliate as well. That's basically what it is. So you don't want to approach someone with, so much anger and attitude, your emotions, or aggressively, or rudely, in fact. You can be very kind in setting boundaries. You don't have to be rude about it. You can just say, you know what, I don't like it. I remember there was this one time that, I was talking to my husband and I said, I don't like how this person speaks to you. And, it's something I'd noticed over and over and over and over. And I said to him, I said, I don't like how this person speaks to you. And he was trying to say, they don't mean anything about it. And that person was just being innocent. And I said, I get it. I understand, but I don't like it. And I want you to please put boundaries in place and not put yourself in that situation. Do you get what I'm saying? This was how I was saying. I didn't lead with my anger. How dare that person talk to you? Why would you allow that person talk to you like that? No. I had to express myself. I don't like how it makes me feel. I don't like it. You're my husband. You're the most important human to me. I don't like how this person speaks to you. I don't like how this person addresses you, particularly even in my presence as well. Even so, not to talk of if I were to be absent, what would that person say? How would this person do? I don't like it. Please set some boundaries. Don't put yourself in that situation. Please address it. You might not think much of it, but I don't like it. And because my husband loves me and he never discards my feelings or my thoughts or, my emotions or how I express myself to him, because again, I do it kindly and I do it with sense and I do it clearly. Okay, then, he's able to also take action and address it as well. Do you see what I'm saying? And set those boundaries and, love continues. So basically, don't be unkind about it. Don't be rude. Don't be dramatic about it. Just communicate with that person or those people and be clear on what your boundaries are, why those boundaries are necessary. You have to let people respond to those boundaries and just allow them without shifting. Okay? Because when you communicate that to people, some people are going to respect it and act accordingly. Some people are going to be offended and try to make you feel bad for it. People are going to respond in different ways. What you need to do is to stick to your guns and to say, you know what, whatever you say, these are my boundaries and I am going to stick to them. I remember one time, this was years ago, I have a friend, we were on Twitter at the time and we would always joke about food and all of that. And I tweeted something, he tweeted something, and then I tweeted something back about food and how he eats and all of that. And we were joking, right? It was obviously a joke. And what he did was to come into my DM and say, I don't like that you said this to me, particularly because, my weight is something I struggle with and I just didn't like it. Please don't do it again. And immediately, I apologized. I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was thoughtless of me. I went back, I deleted the comments that I made, the tweet that I made, deleted it. And I told him I deleted it. I'm so sorry and it would not happen again. And since then, I'd related with this person, even if they crack a joke at their own expense. Okay? I can laugh, but I'm not going to crack one at their own expense as well. Okay? Because they've communicated their boundaries very clearly to me. And because I love this person, naturally, I will respect it. But there are people that will say, what do you mean? How can you be getting offended over nothing? Your own is too much. There are people that will say that. Don't be distracted by those people. Don't, because of those people, now start to say, okay, well, maybe I can accommodate, maybe I can compromise. No. Stick to your guns. Your boundaries are your boundaries, period. If you cannot respect it, then I cannot help you. How you carry yourself is how people are going to carry you. How you present yourself is how people are going to treat you. Don't apologize for how you want to be treated. If you want space and you ask for space, then don't apologize for it. If you want more respect and you ask for it, if you want to be treated at a certain way and you ask for it, don't feel bad that you're asking for those things. Don't let the guilt of, oh, I'm a good person and I don't want to stir the waters. Don't let that hold you back to remain in a place where you're uncomfortable with and you know that you can change it. You're just being too afraid. Settle those boundaries, even in your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your ex or your exes. Set those boundaries. Okay? Set those boundaries. Stick to them. And you thank yourself for it. I hope this has been value for your time. Let me know in the comments what part of this video resonated with you. Check out either of my videos right here. They'll be incredibly valuable to you. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. Like the video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.